We're live.
We are live. Good afternoon, peace and blessings. Family, welcome, welcome. Come on in to Constructive Convos, where we bring the conversation back to black. Some of you are getting the notifications and y'all coming on in. We got a real good one today for you. But before we start, we want to do like we normally do our introductions and let the panel members say what's up to the family. Brother B2,
Peace and blessings, everyone. Big up panel. Big up everyone in the chats.
our sister Kushti says,
Peace and blessings, everyone. Big up.
Brother Scattered Minds,
Big up everyone, big up to the family. Yeah, Sky Minds in the building. Shout out everyone on the chat and the panel.
our brother Mr. Riggs,
Greetings, everyone. Greetings. This is Mr. Riggs, Black Eyes TV. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the convos.
yeah, and I am Melanated Goddess. And we have a really, really good show planned for you guys today. This topic, why does this topic say mind your business? Because we need to mind our business. We need to be about our business up in here. And we decided to kind of go deeper in the whole umbrella topic of economics and really kind of dig deep into business and what's going on with the lack of black owned businesses and how do we even start, how do we even venture into that, like how do we explore our personal interests, our passions, and thinking about the topic, we had a conversation earlier today with one of our brothers, brother Mr. Lee, said he pretty much was saying that we could get paid or we could start a business off of some of the things that we do even as employees, some of the skills and some of the talents that we have. We can actually use that and start a business with, right? So, brother Terry, what are some of your thoughts on the things that go into like formulating like your business
Okay.
ideas?
Oh, and basically, as I always say, you have to go right to its root. And you've got to kind of understand it's not just about setting up a business or trying to do something, but it's actually checking out what you like doing. It's not like to say you want to put yourself into a place what you hate doing. So it's by understanding what your creativity is. And by understanding your creativity, for instance, as I said, for me personally, like I'll use one of my stances into explaining it, is I love history. I'm passionate about history. So then how can I turn that history into a formulation of business? So like you would see what I'm going to be doing in the next few days is able to understand the history. So I was able to explore, like for instance, going around London, seeing where all the history artifacts and X, Y, and Z. And then I found a passion for it. So how can I able to give that service and create it into a business? So like melanated, in your kind of passion, what would you say your passion is?
My passion is helping people,
Gone?
health and nutrition. It's another passion of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like fixing things, DIY projects. Those are
Okay.
just some of
So
my passions.
so then now we have to create a body around it in that something that was good for me, how can I apply that as a form of a service for others? Because like in London, we are based on a whole heap of services, and these services either can become products or services. in our forms of talent. So in that perspective, it was able for me to build in that body. And building that body, I realized that, okay, I can actually use my creativity to able to look after who I am and what I do in that perspective. If I was looking at in your forms of health, what would you kind of do if you was going to turn that into a business? What was in what your understanding, because you're from the States, how would you govern your creativity related?
So for me, I think I would be interested in maybe some sort of like health coaching, or provide that as a service.
Mm-hmm.
Health coaching, maybe become a personal trainer. Um, what else? Maybe like make like healthy products for people and sell them. Like people who make their own skincare, hair care. To me, those all of that falls under health. Um, you know, just yeah.
Yeah. So like how in its format, because remember all what you have said is a theme of thought that's come from your mind, and you've want to put this out there as a service. The first protocol would to say I will put this on a piece of paper, or I'll put this in a book, or I'll write it down, or put it on a computer. But then once you have got something of it, how would you think to able to make a service? Scattered. Scattered.
Yeah, I'm here.
In your formalities of what you do, because you work,
Yeah.
right? If I was going to get your service of working, how would I turn that into a kind of your service into a business?
Well, my business, it would be already be service based, so I would have
Yeah.
to set up myself as an agent or agency, or a consultant, and offer out my services to other people in regards to offering my contacts, and two, my know-how in terms of setting out a press release and attracting media interest. So I mean, like, it's relatively simple, and people do it quite often within my industry in terms of public relations, in terms of
Yeah.
kicking off and setting up their own agencies. The difficulty is obviously getting the contracts initially, and being able to secure on what you promise those contracts, because journalists don't write just because you tell them to write it. You
Yeah.
just, but yeah, it's relatively simple to turn my everyday work into a business.
Mm-hmm. Kushti. 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 Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, bro.
Okay. In your experiences of you being developing in your business,
Hmm.
let's start from that beginning of that thought of your ideas. How did you create that business from your thoughts to putting it on paper?
What do you mean? How did I create it by putting thoughts on paper?
Meaning that, okay, it started from an idea that you saw, or you heard, or you wanted to do
Absolutely.
something that was passionate to you.
Uh-huh.
But now it's a business that is in motion, as I can see.
Yeah, exactly.
That
So,
process of you
yeah.
getting from that pen and paper to putting it down to making it a service.
Yeah, so what I'd had to do first is, like you said, so there's ways that you can go about it. So say if we use your example of like a passion of yours. So if you know that you've got a passion, you want to make sure that it is a liable business and not just a passion, because then it would be a hobby rather than a business, because you're not really making income out of it, but you're just doing it out of the love.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing you want to do is, when you have this idea, is to make sure that it is a liable business. So you want to look around for competitors that are doing the same thing as you. You want to find out if anyone is actually doing it. If there's loads of people doing it, don't let that put you off. There's loads of people doing toilet paper, toothpaste, and a variety of things. But at the same time, if no one's doing it, you do definitely want to check why that is as well. So the first thing is to have an idea. then see if it's an actual a liable business, or if it's just a hobby. And then the next stage of committing to the fact of doing your little like market research will then be committing to actually doing a business, therefore having a business plan and going through the process there. But I don't want to jump ahead of what you're saying, so I don't know if that answers your
No,
question.
as I'm saying, it's all inclusive in that, because what you do, a lot of people want to know what you do anyway, and
Yeah,
it's just giving them a slight insight of what gave you that inspiration to make that maneuver. Because a
yeah,
lot of people say they want to do this and they want to do that, and they find it difficult to able to push themselves forward. And we're
yeah,
trying to get to what is to help themselves to be encouraged to actually doing a business. Because in my philosophy is that a job
mm,
is only temporary, that you are supposed to tap into your creativity. So it's for you to, how do you able to do that transition from being working for somebody and then able to create in your own business?
yeah. I mean, that I think that heavily determines, to me, my mindset is that heavily determines on the individual. So
Yeah.
if you're frustrated in what you're doing at the moment, for example, and you know you've got an idea, right? And you're at the stage you've got an idea. I've looked around, this thing looks like it can actually be good. I've looked at the competitors. I think I can have a stake in this market. And you're in a working job. Like you said, that job, you need to put a positive spin on things. You should be like, okay, this job is temporary, i.e., this job is actually sponsoring, it's my investor into my dream, right? So you can start thinking differently, you can shift your mindset. So although I'm working in this job now, I'm going to commit to going into a actual business. I can start making plans for myself now. So I'm in a full-time job, but I've got this business idea. I've realized that it's actually a liable business. I'm going to give myself 6 months in this job and a 10% proportion. When we say anyways, like a lot of people saying that we should be putting a percentage of our pay away anyway. So maybe an extra 5% on that pay, you just start putting it away, you start figuring out. And this is the thing, you need to be realistic. So I mean, what age group are you as well? So if you're like young, you don't have no responsibilities, you could just flippantly just go and get a job. If you've got mortgages, rent and stuff like that, you do need to take things seriously. So like what brother said, your job is temporary, your job is also your investment, so you'd have to save and things like that. So when it comes to what would make a mindset go into that, I think it takes an individual to have to really seriously commit in regards to going into business, and really understanding before you jump in what you're actually going into. You have to be realistic to yourself. You have to be realistic to your business, because your business is literally your baby. You've thought about it, you've brought it to life. It's now actually living, breathing, moving. It is a real thing. So, yeah.
B2, on what you've heard so far, what is your stances on it? B2.
Sorry, bro. Yeah. So let me. Can I just understand the question correctly? Like, is it like?
It's that motivation between your creativity and putting it into a business.
Okay. So I think obviously at its lowest level, if your creativity, your passion, your skill sets, um, I guess you should be practicing it as a hobby. And then if you're thinking about making that transition into turn it into a business, then like Sister Kushti said, just assessing the viability um, of that. Is it going to make a return? Is it profitable? How easy is it to get into? And the sort of things you would need. So I think in any type of business, at the very early stages, you're going to have to embark on a lot of research and information gathering so that you can make informed decisions. So it's good and well to have the skill sets, and that is a strong place to start off from. If you've got a passion, a skill set, a talent, that's a good springboard, but that still needs to be equipped with information and
But
the rest of it.
don't you feel that
But
like the general public sometimes they find it very difficult to have that drive in their passion, where Well,
Yeah, I think a lot. I think the reason why that is, and this might be an assumption, is because the general public have sort of got into a lifestyle where a lot of things are packaged for them, and so to now be responsible for doing the packaging seems a bit of a laborious task, albeit with many benefits at the end of it. Do you get what I'm saying? But sometimes
That's
it's
a
the path
good
of least
point.
resistance to just be an employee.
That's a good
Yeah,
point. I think.
sometimes just the path of least resistance. Sorry, it's just got you.
Oh no, I was gonna say that I think that that's a good point. I think because you know sometimes when people talk about starting your business and so forth, you know, it can, not minimizing the person's concerns. You know, I think something like having health insurance. You know, especially like in the U.S. when we do not have a universal health insurance program. You know, not acknowledging that and recognizing that as a barrier to starting your business could kind of turn people away because they're like, you know what, you don't really understand my struggle. You know, I'm a family of 4, I'm a family of 3. You know, yeah, this is my passion, this is my drive, but I can't just go and just not have health insurance for my whole family now. You know, so it's not that easy to just, you know, like those are real concerns that people have, you know, when they are making the decision to or not to jump out there, you know. So I think what Sister Kushti said, as far as having your job sponsor your passion and you putting it in that way really kind of puts a spin on it where it's more so like understanding why a person may move a little bit slower at starting this venture, this business venture.
Yeah, and like we was having a conversation about this before, and I was actually echoing these points. Like at the end of the day, we are in a society where we grow up, where we're sitting in a class of 30, we listen to people, we actually go to school at around the 9 o'clock, we finish about 3. We're already organized to be in the system. We grow up with our parents going to most of us parents going, especially within our community, as opposed to the Asian community now, who see their parents doing the extra thing. Yeah, it's a normal thing, right? Both minorities, but we see a different thing. And then we're getting told as well that education is key. Get your degree, get your this, and get into a kind of like into a system at a higher level, right? So if you're getting this and you're fed this and you're the kind of person who want to do right by your family, to you the best, and although it's not easy, the easiest way is to continue that, right? So to say to someone to change that up now is quite a big task. But that's why what I was saying is that there's a way of also maybe saying to them it's an avenue. There is also options to have an avenue alongside your job, or you can part-time your job when you've got that extra avenue of income coming in. So there's definitely ways of having an entrepreneurial spirit to gain that extra income to therefore allow yourself to have that financial freedom to live your life.
yeah, because on the back of that is that we have to actually look at the educational system. And if you look at the educational system, you will realize that it's all history, it's all past. And when you see a job as it's someone else's creativity. And the system of education putting a stamp of approval for you to go and learn this creativity, which was someone else's. So in that perspective, you're able to look at your creativity and bring something new to the table, which is your own, than someone else telling you how to do it and what to do it. Because majority of the time, if you do go and study, which I'm not saying you shouldn't go and study, but it holds you back, because the reason is, this is why you get a lot of degree graduates are not able to find in a job, or they put into a job and not doing really much, because the issue is they don't have the experience. Brother Witness has just joined the party. And Brother Witness,
Hello.
yes,
Hello.
we're talking about going from utilizing your creativity to to able to creating a business from your creativity. What's your opinions on that?
I think it's a great idea because you need balls of steel to go through with it. You need to be very level-headed because you have to go through the process of coming up with a business plan. And in there, you need to formulate the funding, how you're going to get the funding, how you're going to go about it. But more importantly, it's taking that plunge. From what little I've learned from those who actually do it, they have an idea, and then they decide this is the idea that I'm going to make money out of. And then they go through that process. And the reason why I say you need a lot of mental strength is because you might not actually get support from your family or your friends. I mean, it's really down to you. But I've always wanted to ask all of those who are starting the businesses, I mean, how did you come up with your USP, your unique selling point that would actually help keep your business alive and different from your competitors? I've always wondered that. How did you think, what am I going to do? Because simply saying you're going to go into, I don't know, a business selling car auto parts, well, everybody's doing that. So you need like a unique selling point. I mean, did you have to think about that, or did someone give you the idea for that?
Let me ask you something, like Witness. You said you used to be a DJ.
No, not professionally.
Oh, not professionally.
Outside work, I used to do it.
Okay, what would you say that you did that could be potentially encouraging it to turn into a business, whether it's DJ, yoga, whatever it is that you do? How in your perspective, how would you turn that into a business?
Oh, man, from what little I remember, if you wanted to go down the road of becoming a business, you would have to start finding a way to promote yourself. You would utilize social media, so Twitter, Facebook. You would give updates on where you were going to.
Witness has some very nice photos of him doing his yoga postures that would definitely have Melanated Goddess sign up for his yoga class.
Yeah.
See, that's a selling point. That is a selling point.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that ties into what I was just saying, social media, because I have a social media channel that has all those postures and people see it. So in a way, I had been promoting myself for a number of years. So, and then but in regards to the question you asked about the DJing, then I would start going to various bars and offer to do DJing there for free, and then try and build up a reputation in those bars that would accept me. And from there, with social media and the reputation in those bars, I would be able to start, trying to get paid. Basically, that's from the DJ perspective, which I was never going to do anyway. But from the yoga perspective, yeah, I did it for a number of years, excelled for a bit, put myself out there. And yeah, I could have gone through training, but it wasn't what brought me passion. That's why I wanted to listen to the likes of you, Kushti, because you were doing things that you were really passionate about. And I was just trying to understand how you decided to turn that into a business, listening to the various things that you did. I wanted to know about did you have to sit down and write a business plan to get funding, or you just asked a relative for funding?
For me, I would say I'm highly in creativity, and I learned one thing because I used to be in the music game, and then I turned it into the fashion game. But what it was, the end toll was my target audience. So in that perspective, I made sure I understood advertising. And advertising consists of a whole heap of stuff, from public relations to X, Y, and Z. So it's knowing in the format of, to the core, how people sell to people is more of a psychological thing. It's what does the people want? So if I want to sell something, I'm able to understand what are the core values. So my core values, I look at the basics, is food, shelter, and clothing. So and that's where I can build my bases off.
Food, shelter, clothing. Right.
I think for me, I would say searching for your USP is a good question, because that will definitely get you ahead of the crowd, especially if you're doing something that's quite like saturated. What I'd say, I'd agree with Brother Terry, of course, like in regards to
Oh, sorry,
USP.
Kushti. I don't want
Yeah,
you to give away your secret because your
no,
USP is what's keeping you out of afloat. So don't feel the need to share your secret, please.
I won't share my USP. I will give you an advice on, and anyone else who's listening, on how to find your USP, because I do think that's a good question in regards to if you're serious in business, because that's how you get yourself noticed in a field that's full of other businesses. And what I would say is, I'd give an example, three examples. So one would be like a spin class. You could go to an everyday spin class, and that's that. Or you could go to a spin class that might just happen to play the music that you like, with someone that gets to know the audience. So he knows that a certain audience, for example, are into rock music or garage or something high tempo. So he does it catering to his audience. So the reason why he's done that and successful, right? So what's that going to result in? People are going to like the music. It's going to motivate them. It's going to keep them going when they're exhausted. They're still going to keep going. They can sing along. They can jam. They're going to do it to the beat, which means they're losing that weight. So that's all inclusive, right? But then on top of that, people are like, oh, I really liked it there. I really like the music. I like the vibe, and I can feel like I'm losing weight. So what he initially did was he knew what he wanted to do in regards to doing a spin class, but he made sure that he narrowed who he wants to get as customers, and he found out what they liked. A second example is probably someone who's a personal dresser. Like, I know a friend who's a personal dresser. She'll make sure that certain clients have champagne, that she'll already know what they want. She'll have it laid out so they're not waiting so long. She'll call up the shops in advance to make sure that there's not as much people there, that they've got an open booth for them. So it's really about, what do you want to do? Really find out about your client base, and then do something that you know that they'd like, that no one else is doing. And that's why that's why this is good what we're doing now, because it relates back to doing something which is your passion. It'd be helpful because you already know that field, right? So you already know what's lacking in that field. You're like, oh, it'd be so good. This is good. This is good. But only if they did this one little thing, it'll change everything. The spin class was a spin class. The only thing that changes was the music. She still dresses the women. The only thing she changes is to make sure that they had their drink, that it was a comfortable environment, things like that. There's another one, that was my last one, me and my friend. And the great thing about living in London is we see creativity and people you putting their USB on everything. Like, one of my friends we went to a place where they're doing painting, but you can drink and paint, it's like sip and paint. And they've got music in the background, and they were all sisterings in there, all with their fros. They were all doing beautiful Afrocentric painting, and we're all drinking, and we're all talking and sipping tea and having fun. So it's about doing something and just changing it for your clientele, really.
How do you promote yourself? Because somebody spoke, I think it was Scattered Minds, mentioned public relations. So it's like, how do you guys advertise and promote yourself for people to know about you? I'm curious.
Well, the best form of advertising for a startup business is free publicity. So you'd be silly not to utilize social media. Yeah. Social media is how majority of businesses really have thrived at the moment, especially with some of these tech and, what is it? What's like the app scene, something Valley, Silicon Valley, that's all internet based. That's all, just think of people like influencers who have made their money on the back of being an influencer on social media. So yeah, definitely. The first thing I'd say is utilize social media. You can gain a really loyal, small following, and you can expand from there.
But they say in forms of advertising, the best advertiser is referrals.
Yeah, word of mouth.
Word of mouth.
Yeah, I was gonna say that too. Like, I really, I'm learning now, like, to ask people. I speak to people all the time and ask for recommendations. Like, if I have a plumber, I would much rather get a plumber of someone that came from a friend of mine, and they could vouch for that person, the type of services that they got from the person, as opposed to me just going online and looking at a really pretty website. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not really gonna do it. So word of mouth, and I'm telling you, when you give people good service, they're gonna tell people. I mean, unless they just have like a really nasty attitude, but for the most part, they'll tell people. They'll say like, oh,
yeah, and that's what social media is based on. It's based on word of mouth, because they've realized if we can bring you closer, the more you're able to talk on social media, and the more you can able to communicate.
And the longer you'll stay on the platforms.
Yeah, the longer you stay on the platforms. So, asking all these questions, and that's
You
why
couldn't tell
most
me
of the
nothing.
time.
When I go get my hair done, I would always be telling people, they'd be like, "Who did your hair? Oh, here go her number. Da, 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 da. Here go the address." She's, like you just want to, because you're just so happy with the services, and of course you like the attention that you're getting because your hair looks nice. So you want to give your stylist some big ups. Now that there's social media, people take pictures and they tag their stylist in it. Those type of things. Um, so yeah, I word of mouth, social media. Nothing wrong with the old school business card and those type of ways of advertising as well, flyers and business cards, depending on what type of business. That will guide how you market and where you market. Because some
And
places you
that's
may leave flyers like if you're like for instance, if I know if I want to find out where the next party is, when I go to the Caribbean restaurant, there's always flyers there. Like that's a way that works that will tell you what's the next event coming up. So flyers would be good.
Scattered Minds, were you going to say something a while ago?
witness.
Yep, I'm
Yeah,
here.
that's why when I said clothes, food, and shelter, is that when you go to cause of everything that we have in society, it falls down into that because everything else is majority a service. So once you're able to look in that, let's say for instance, I look at clothing. Clothing has a mass amount of, we need to wear clothes. It turns into fashion share, the way we look, the way we do things, how we're going to even dress to go to parties, go to club nights, and etc., etc., etc. But majority of the things after the clothing part of it is a form of a service. So it's able to use it, like utilizing the services into what your agenda is. So let's say, for instance, I've got colored dye, then I'm able to target the people that make the clothing and able to use the colors in its perspective. This is why in the fashion world, they will advertise colors and say, okay, you know what, this season is yellow.
I wanted to address a comment really quickly.
Yeah.
So our brother, everything is everything. He says, in these days, how does Black businesses get a customer base? We notoriously don't support each other. And I'll let you all respond as well. I just wanted to say that depending on the business that you have, I would say that we do need to get out of the mindset that we can only provide services to our community, right? The Chinese man that's in my community doesn't sell things to Chinese people. They sell things to Black people in our community. The corner store that the Arab owns, they don't their customers aren't Arab, right? So having a business, being a Black business owner, doesn't mean that you only provide services to people within your community. I think we kind of need to make a shift in our thinking when it comes to that. That no, when if you sell belts, you're gonna sell belts to everyone whose pants is falling down, not only to Black people. You know, now what you do, how you spend your money, that's different. But if you have a business, you know, you want that money.
Yeah, it's
You know
about
what I'm
selling.
saying?
It's about selling your product to anybody, but circulating it amongst your own.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, because you see people like, even like for instance McDonald's or all these big department stores. They have a board. They don't care who they sell to. They don't say black person don't come in. They don't say white person don't come in. They don't say Chinaman don't come in. They say everybody come in. But when they get that money, they circulate it within their industry and their board.
He said something about his first question was, is there a level? a level of so-called selling out necessary. I'm not seeing how providing belts to people outside your community selling out. I don't necessarily think it that way. And we have so many conversations that focus on when we look at other communities, we're always comparing, saying these communities, those communities aren't selling out. They're prospering, they're growing because they're generating income, they're generating wealth. It doesn't matter
Okay.
if all of their clients or their customers are from within their community. So if I open up a daycare as a black woman and I not only help black people be able to go to work and I provide child care for their kids, but I have white people or Arab people or Asian people or whatever, how is that selling out? I just don't understand how that's selling
Okay,
out.
so in looking at, let's look at it in the forms of the numbers. Let's say, for instance, you go to one community, you look at the demographics of the community. Let's say, for instance, there is let's say 100 people in that community. Say 60% is European and 40% is black. Now I've got a product that can sell to both demographics. Am I just going to continue selling to my own community of the 40%, or am I going to receive the 100% of selling to everyone else if I want to expand?
Come on, that's logical, isn't it? Of course. Everything is everything. Says in our community, the fact is perception is key. Look what happened to Dr. Boyce. Wasn't an Asian and Watson an Asian dude.
Yeah, it's we're in a day and age, and let's be, we have to sometimes be truthful to ourselves. Is that we're in a day and age, if we are starting from scratch, we can't just start from scratch from ourselves, because
No, but the thing is we can.
no. When
We
I say,
can,
I'm not
don't
saying we can't do it, but what I'm saying is we sometimes need something to generate itself, because right now,
it's not even like we need it. It's just a no-brainer. If a man's coming to you with his
yeah,
money and saying, yo, I'm gonna pay you money for that, like why not? It's business. Understand, it's
exactly.
business. Cut off your nose to spite your face. Do you get me? But check this now, yo. I want to ask everything is everything now, yeah. Are you equally a sellout? Yeah. Actually, let me step it back a bit now, yeah. Have you heard of has anyone heard of the, what is it, the black Facebook or something, or black social media?
Yeah, I've heard of quite a few of them like that.
Okay. Now, who's on them platforms? Because at the moment we're on YouTube. Are we equally being sellouts by doing that? To get me, there's the point I'm trying to make or touch on is there's many aspects of our life where we could maybe be supporting black first, but just out of convenience or lifestyle, you know, or just because of logistics, it makes sense to get more information on YouTube. There's a wealth of information. Similar, someone wants to come buy your product, makes sense to sell it in it.
Because the real truth is, it's just a tool. These are all tools.
Yeah.
We shouldn't be emotional to the tools, but it's for us to able to build. Is for us to able to hit the mass.
I just don't understand. Like, if I'm a plumber and I have a website, I am not going to only fix the toilets of black people.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that just doesn't make any sense. See, I think when we talk about supporting black businesses, when we talk about circulating our dollar, we're talking about circulating our dollar in our spending, and we're also talking about creating, being business owners,
Yeah,
being, but I don't think that being a business owner um means that you only provide services to your people. If I have a vegan restaurant only for vegan black people, now, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
But
You got
I
to. You
just
got
want
to.
to say a point on that because that's a real big question, especially for someone like me and the type of business that I'm in. And I think like it is a question. Everything's everything. I hope you do come onto my show. I know it's like not time wise, but I do want you to hit some of these questions on my channel as well because these are questions that you tend to hear. But I think it's about clarity as well. So, for example, like when you said, like, is a level of selling out necessary? I don't think you need to sell out. But if we're talking about business, then we need to make sure that we're like competitors in the game, and business means business. And the raw root of business is you provide a service and you get money for it. And that there has no race to that. What you do with that money and that income, right, that's what determines your ethos, your ethics, the business's ethics. Yeah. And I'd like to say as well that I do agree on the part of what Boris, was it? Is it, what's the dude's name? Boris Watkins. Because I felt the same way when I saw what happened with the Asian dude, because I was following him. I was even a part of his classes. I met up with him when he was in London. Like, I was proper involved and supporting it. And I felt that there was definitely a sense of selling out in that, and we need to be able to call people out. And I think he did it the wrong way. It's about what you represent. It's about your ethos. If you're coming in saying that I'm all black, I'm only doing rap, I'm only going to be investing black, I'm only going to get investors black, and we know as a business that it's not liable, right? And then as soon as we see that you're doing something, we see an Asian man sitting there and literally ripping black people apart, obviously we're going to feel way about that, and we need to challenge businesses like that. But we need to understand as a consumer, and I think we're asking a lot of black people, because we don't necessarily expect like the wider businesses don't expect the wider range of society to understand so much in business. But we need to have at least an understanding when we say, okay, if this business is up, they maybe needed finance, and as long as they're not going to hide where they got it from, we can't knock them. The importance is, what are they doing with their wealth when they generate that wealth? So yeah, that's my answer on that.
But you know, one thing I gotta say, right, is in just in that quick Boyce Watkins thing, is that we have to be very careful of what we see and what we hear, because if you really dug much deep, Boyce Watkins deeper inner circle, they're all black. He utilizes someone's services into doing what he needed to do. So when a man is being pushed aside and has become bitter, we have to be very careful on that situation.
Definitely, like just on the basis of when we said about the best form of advertising is good publicity. The worst kind is the same thing, word of mouth, and people saying something's bad, because bad news will spread quicker than good news.
Yeah.
So, but in regard to like the Boyce Watkins kind of thing, we saw evidence. We saw the video of his partner. We saw what he said about
that's the funny thing, that it wasn't his partner. He made himself to be his partner.
No, but Boyce Watkins come out and he done an apology. I mean, I don't know. We can go
he did
back
an apology, but it wasn't his partner. It was a business associate.
But I mean, we can go through it. I don't want to.
No, I'm not going to dialogue into it. It's because
Yeah.
I know the management of it, and from when he came to London, I know the whole full circle of the management, and the management are all 100% black. The inner circle is 100% black.
I saw the woman and stuff like that, but obviously the Chinese, the guy. This is what I'm saying. I don't want to say the wrong things, but I know that he was doing this on the back of something separate, right? And it's like he never showed him. No one saw him. Do you know what I mean? I remember what he was promoting, and do you remember I was invested in him? Do you know what I mean? I'm not here to, and I
because
still.
The reason why I say this, the only reason why I saying this is that even when you look at the dialogues of what he's saying, is like when he's telling people to go and buy shares. You're buying shares from Europeans. You're buying into European business.
I agree with all of that. I mean, I don't even agree with that mentality. I don't think most people in business have that mentality. I think that most people in business, you wouldn't hear people in business say that, oh, I'm not going to get money from somewhere or something else. It's not business, is it? So that's just, I think, another thing that gets circled around the community, but not from the people. Do you know what I mean? It's just another.
Because
I just don't think
I got a friend that, because like I got a friend that makes certain things, but he goes and gets his stuff made in China because he has nowhere else to go to get it made. There's no one in Africa, there's no one in the Caribbean, there's no one in America to making it. And if they did make it, it's going to be so costly for him, for him coming up. So he had no choice but not to go to China. But because they're Chinese, shouldn't he work with them?
No, of course he should. But then maybe that what he should do then, if he knows that he's going to have people questioning about it, say, look, brother, I went to here, there, and everywhere, and I couldn't find it. I went to China, and then they've got it here for this small price. I'm still looking. If I find something within the diaspora, I'm there. If you can find something, or you hear something, you let me know. And then I haven't looked into it, then fine. But at this point, I've tried, and I say that all the time to people because, like, everything's everything. Say we are quite hard on each other, but if you literally sit them down and talk to them like an individual, 9 times out of 10, you've got a customer for life. Do you know what I mean? If you just break it down to them, do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's all, and that's what I'm saying. This is the mindset where we have to understand is what is their main goal, what is their main agenda, and if your main agenda is to building that black economy, then it's fine. How you do it is another way of doing it in that format or building yourself up, because there's a lot of things out there that, as I said, we're not ready for. So until we're ready, or we can able to build the finances to opening up our factories and doing what we have to do. And this is why we're talking about coming out of utilizing our creativity, because we need as many people as possible to creating something.
So part of like some of the topics that we wanted to address was having an increased high street presence, right? Having some a brick and mortar, a mom and pop store, things like that. Do you all feel like we need to have more of a presence in that regard? And if so, what do you think are some of the barriers as to why that is?
Yeah, I think we do. It's a bit like what it's like what Nipsey was trying to do on the hood, on the block. Like we're consumers in our local environment, but when we look at ownership, that we're not really reflected in that. Certainly not on the high street. And the more we have ownership over that, at least on that visual platform there, we can start to address some of the narratives, i.e., this is trendy and that's not, this is beauty and that's not. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a whole set of capabilities that come into play with having more of a presence on the high street. And you see it in other little sort of what I would describe as micro communities that we have. Certainly in London, you get certain geographical areas that have higher populations of people from certain communities, and that reflects in the high street and the shops. Even down to like Southall, for instance, a high Asian community. You come off of the train at Southall, the signs are written in I'm not sure if it's Arabic or but it's a language that the people that are there, it reflects the people that are there. Do you know what I'm saying?
It's like Brick Lane.
Yeah.
It's good, right? Yes, I think it's good, right? But I'm not sure. But yeah, they have. Yeah, sorry.
So yeah, I think that we should definitely be aspiring to owning more of the high street space.
And that kind of falls in on the back of more of the wholesale and distribution, because when you understand it on the local terminology, that the reason why these people can have shops is because they have the wholesale, and the wholesale is able to provide for 10, 20 shops. And when we have, as in us black people, we only have one shop, and he's the only one depending on himself. So it becomes very difficult in that situation.
But are there things we can do around that though? So as opposed to being a single branded chain,
go on.
Sorry, rather than just being a single branded chain, i.e., many KFCs, could it be like a consortium of like food businesses under an umbrella, a black food business, like the Uber Eats for the black community, if you like? That was the goal.
So, and we kind of do that. We kind of do certain things to promoting ourselves, like events. We do a lot of events. A lot of people bring their stalls to show what they do. And if people were attending most of these events, they would realize that there is a lot of products and services within the community itself. And it takes someone to able to promote that community, as in a wholesale or a distributor, into promoting all these products and shops and services in one place where they will say, like in America back in the day, they had that, what's that book called again? It was like a green book, where they had all the details of shops, barbers, etc., etc., etc.,
Or like a
where they,
directory.
like a directory, which was able to be given out so that people could know where to go and what to find, because
Yellow
most people
pages
have
sort of thing.
these stuff. They're not promoting it in that perspective.
Mm. And I think that starts to touch on as well, yeah. It's a bit this way it sort of comes to a chicken and egg situation, yeah. As a business owner who is trying to provide a service with your community at the forefront, obviously you're at the mercy of your community in the sense that you're dependent on them sort of being a customer and supporting. Um, and that isn't sometimes the prices might be a little higher. Um, Sometimes the variety might not be as vast as the competition. And sometimes those factors are enough to sort of deter our own people coming to black businesses as customers. So that in itself makes it hard for new black business owners, but also the lack of the variety and the spots on the high road makes it almost seem less accessible for the customer. The knowledge isn't there, like you said. That it is happening in little spots, little bits here and there, but the awareness isn't there for the masses. They don't know that these opportunities to buy from these business owners are there. So
Yeah, because you could see it even through the way even Nipsey Hussle did his way of advertising or promoting his store. You know, when you bought a top, you get a couple songs on the tags and things like that. Where
but you see, Nipsey
what we've
Hussle's thing, his thing's different because he's got the celebrity thing to springboard off
no,
of.
but he had technology and he
Yeah,
utilized on it. So if you wanted one of his songs, you couldn't get it unless you bought a top.
yeah, the exclusivity of it. I get it.
Yeah. So,
That's
but
another
what
like
we
sort of marketing strategy, don't it?
yeah, and you will find a lot of people that try to multitask. Even when they open up these shops, they try to find ways of avoiding advertising, or they try to do the advertising themselves. But sometimes advertising can be a lot of work, which can take you away from actually the creativity that you actually opened that shop with. In the perspective of, let's say for instance you're a good chef, you can cook good food, but then you want to do the advertising at the same time, you want to do the accounts at the same time. There can be conflict of interest within each one of them, which can make your business go downhill.
Hmm. And I was just getting ready to ask the next question as far as like common mistakes.
Hmm.
Common mistakes in regards to um businesses. You know, my experience thus far, I would say, what I would have to contribute is issues with not keeping good job with paperwork, and then that translating into tax issues and things of that sort. That was definitely a mistake for me. My first go round is going diving into entrepreneurship and not really doing a lot of the research and so forth, and ahead of time, not doing the research on that, and then just being um, gung ho on what my passion was.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were saying before. Are we a people that are lazy, that want everything done for us? Because I know
It's not
certain
just us
people that they
though.
don't. Go on.
I don't think it's just us though. Like, I get the question,
No.
but I think
Yeah.
it's people in general.
Yeah.
You
I'm
you
talking
you
about
know
in
one
general.
of the questions that I wanted to ask
Go
is
on.
because I know you were talking about like your passion and so forth, right?
Hmm.
But there's also, when it comes to business, there's another school of thought, which is don't do what you're passionate about, but start a business in what you're good at doing, right? Because
Hmm.
if you can, I can be passionate about singing, and if you hear me sing, you be like melanated, like cut that out, like only do that in the shower. You know what I'm saying? Like I may not be good at singing. So therefore, me spending time in the studio, recording things, getting a mixtape out there, trying to get shows, all that energy when I'm really have been good at numbers. I could be an excellent accountant, X, Y, and Z. Um, that may be an avenue that I could generate income off of. So what I'm saying is that what are your thoughts on doing something that you're good at?
Yeah, but that's why I don't tend to use the word passion. I say doing something that you enjoy doing. If you're in a workplace and you enjoy doing the work in the workplace, then a passion is a part of it, but then you enjoy, so you get the best out of that person's creativity because they're enjoying in what they're doing. The one thing that I always say is that a business is like a puzzle, isn't it? And sometimes if you're good at what you do and it's able to give success at the end of it, then I should able to pass onto someone else's creativity to helping me in forms of joint adventure. So if my friend is good at accountants, I would say, you know what, instead of me doing the accountants, I would rather pay my friend who is the accountant, who he likes doing and he's happy in that job, to able to do my accounts.
He said, and he's happy in it. Like, I don't want to do that. Let me pay you to do that.
Exactly.
Um, so you kind of do feel that your business venture should be definitely something that you're good at, that you have expertise in.
Hmm.
Hopefully you're passionate about something that you have expertise in. I think that would be ideal. Um, but definitely something that you're good at, right?
Yeah, because you can enjoy, let's say for instance, you can enjoy the making music out of a trumpet, but then the hard work behind the trumpet can be very stressful.
Hmm.
So you like the end product and you could create the end product, but the service to creating that product might be an issue for you, which can bring your business right back down.
Hmm. I agree.
All
I
right,
agree.
all right. Check this. Yeah,
Hmm.
sorry but everything is everything. After what I think is a good question. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um. Yeah. Let's see what you think. Is a friend a good person to go into business with?
Yes and no.
Yes and no. All right. Let's do it like this. Let's get everyone's answer first, and then we'll go into reasons.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you say yes or no, brother witness. What's your view? Are you there?
Yes, I'm still here. Yeah.
Okay, so the question is, yeah, is a friend a good person to go into business with?
Wow, that's a good question. It
Yes and
depends
no
on,
for now,
yes,
and then we're gonna
I'd
come
say,
back on reasons.
I'd say yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. You're
Okay.
close. Yeah, definitely. Yes.
Sister Kush, Sister Kushti,
Yeah.
did you hear the question?
Yeah, I wish I could ask a few of the other questions beforehand. On this one, I'll just say I don't know. What we start.
Okay, fair enough. Um, Sister Melanated.
I would say that I would say yeah. I responded in the chat and I said it depends on the attributes of that friend. So I was like, so my answer is yes.
Yes. Okay. Scattered.
Yeah, my answer is yes, ideally, but yeah, I mean, obviously there's problems with it, but yeah.
Mm,
And he also added or family. So my answer would be the same. Yes. Obviously there's going to be some contingencies, but yes.
yeah. My answer is it depends.
Exactly.
Had to
The
be
witness was not
difficult,
happy with
right?
that, boy. I'm seeing his reaction on mute. He was not happy with that answer.
You told every one of us yes or no, and then you say it depends. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
but Kuski broke it in it. Like she kind of went against the grain. So I thought, okay, fair play.
Oh man.
It
Okay.
all, as I said, it all goes on. It all goes on the individual
So then that
Yeah,
means
and
yes,
I
and what
think
is
as
it
their
well it
and
still
what is
depends
their
on the.
role.
goes on the business as well. I think there's certain things maybe. Actually, yeah, there's certain things maybe I don't know objective. Because what's the issues with going into business with someone that is emotionally close to us? What
Because
might be
it
some of the
depending
issues?
on their agenda is that if they have their own personal agenda, uh, like for instance, they want your position,
Oh
they
Lord.
they will create sabotage.
You
But
had me clutching my pearls right now.
You be doing
Oh,
your friends wrong or something, Terry, bro. What on, bro?
the
I don't
one
know what kind of friend that is.
the one I've had business partners as friends. I've had family in business,
Yeah,
and that's why I say creativity is for me to able to observe who I'm working with and what is are they good at and what would be their forte. I'm not gonna get a contract for a plumbing job and give it to an electrician
mm.
just because he's my friend.
Yeah, of course not. Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's best person for the job ultimately, innit? If they're the benefit of having a friend, I guess, is the trust in it and
Mm.
understanding and like communication. Hopefully, there's you don't have to do the whole ice breaking stuff. But
Yeah,
Mm.
right. Like
obviously,
if you friends like um like I have a friend who they're also into in mental health. I definitely, I wouldn't mind going having a business venture with them, just because I actually know one, this person is a very good clinician, and two, I know personally their work ethic. So it's not so much of they present to me a really nice resume, because I know you've seen people who have a very good resume and
yeah,
they know how to hold it together during an interview, and they're horrible. You know what I mean?
mm,
Like they're just literally horrible. So I think that there are positives to it, but I don't think that I would go into business with all of my friends or all of my family. Like, nah, just because
yeah,
we're related or just because we're friends does not mean, hey, we're gonna go into business together. No,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
okay. I'll
yeah,
see
yeah.
you at the family reunion.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? No,
I
no,
agree.
no. But that was a really good question. Did everyone else respond?
Um, yeah, everyone gave an answer, but does anyone want to elaborate as to their reason?
I wanted to ask something tied into that.
Yeah.
To those who started their business, when you were getting funding for your business, did you think about getting funding from family or from an external source, keeping it strictly professional, like through a bank or something? Or did you think that getting funding through family would be better? Just curious about that.
Hmm.
Terry, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. What did you say
Did
now? Sorry.
Well, it was both for you, for Christy as well as Terry. It was basically in regards to getting funding for your business venture.
I
Is it better
the
to
the
get it
lucky thing for
through family or through
for me, I was taught really early, so I don't believe in funding because I'm a creative person, so I created my own funds to creating what I needed to do.
how do you do that? That is something
I
that
I,
is
I
very
call it I call it
autonomous.
I call it hustling.
Oh, okay.
So, for instance, as I said to you, if I look at what I said earlier, clothes, food, and shelter, I'll give you an example. I might go to the States and I know that, okay, all the shops around London need a Pacific toothpaste, but the problem is they have an issue because they can't get their hands on it. So then I know that there is a demand. So I would say to them, you know what, I can
Breaking up, Brother Terry.
provide me with the money and I'll
You're
go
cutting
pick
out,
it up.
bro.
Wait,
We
Brother
missed a lot
Terry,
of what
you
you
was
said.
breaking up. Start back
Oh,
over.
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can
Yeah.
hear you now.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I said is understanding when I went, like for instance, I'll give it a couple months back. I had a massive demand because I was able to understand how the emotions of people and how they work. In that, I will go to the shops and I'll just look around the shops and I'll say, oh, what is popular in that shop, and what are you finding difficult to find? That's me doing my research. Then I was to find out that okay, they needed, let's say for instance, I'll give you an example, charcoal toothpaste. Now, not many people were selling the charcoal toothpaste. So what did I do? I knew that I would look and do a research. I found a provider in the States, which I was able to get a price for, and then relate to them and say, you know what, you get your toothpaste within 7 days if you are able to pay me to able to go and collect that. So the profit that I'm able to get in from that, I'm able to utilize that and put that into another business.
Okay.
So it's in its certain ways. I'm able to create in resources to fund whatever projects I do to turn into a business.
See. That way you don't have to worry about paying someone back.
Exactly. Because that's where sometimes the issue lays. Because if I start to loan and it doesn't go right, then I'm in debt.
Yes.
But if for me, if that doesn't go wrong and I'm able to get I'm able to sort something out, or I don't sort something out, it's on my own personal expense.
Okay.
What about you, Sister Kishti?
So to your question, Brother Witness, is it good to go to family, I think it was, or to a governing agency? Was I correct in that?
Yes. So the external source could be governing agency, could be a financial institution like
Yeah. I think if you can go and be as savvy as Terry and then see what's lacking, and you'll be able to get the resources to fill that need, then yeah, definitely go through that route. I think if you're going to so basically I think it's either or. So if you're going to a bank, it's rigid. They expect their payment by a certain date, whether you've got it or not. If you maybe go to family and you're doing, maybe they will allow you a payment or so, or something like that. So you've maybe got less, well, you haven't got like the bailiffs basically knocking down your door, but then will that compromise your relationship with them? So regardless, you are putting your situation, as Terry said, in a space of what some would deem as debt. So you can make that decision really for it's on the individual to find out which way to go. And some people, I feel like most people within communities that I'm looking at and studying, they do have a pool within the family, or they'll all pool together or something like that. So, I mean, it's not unheard of to go to family and family has that set aside. And, if it's a family that's been within business, they understand. Do you know what I mean? That it takes time to get a return back. With the bank, you literally don't have no leeway whatsoever, especially as a new business. You're lucky enough to get a loan from a bank as a new business. So you better make sure you don't miss a payment. So yeah.
Yeah, I know. To add to that, what you will find as well is with a lot of people that do have businesses. There's some people that have businesses and they have a job. Yes. Because that's what the job is really meant for.
It's like investing into yourself. That's what I was saying before.
Yeah.
Your job is your investor. You are your own investor. You're investing into it.
So by putting money aside or able to fund in your business, because even when people try to say, yeah, I'm going to open up a shop, and this is where some issues are, where people don't do their research. They just open up a shop and thinking that shop is going to be successful and not realizing that you've got something that you've got to pay every month, which is, and I always say that you have to clear the money that for the 12 months, where people think that they'll open the shop and it can be disastrous, where the first 6 months you're not selling anything.
Definitely.
Mm.
I had a shop for a while as well, and I actually had an interview on the radio, and it was with Money Mob, and they're really a brilliant group as well. For real, they really are about their thing. You know, they go into black business and they literally are about it. They money mob the whole place, and they go in and they spend it in businesses. So they are going to black businesses who have bricks and mortar. And we was having this discussion as well. And although, yeah, I feel like there is a need to have a black presence, and maybe not just one splattered around the place, like a community of black businesses on a high road in order for us to succeed. So it is easier for people to point out that, oh, if I go to this place, for example, I know a lot of my needs as a black person is met because there's a lot of shops in that area. So we're kind of all supporting each other in that kind of basis.
So you used to have a shop,
Mm-hmm.
and then
So,
people used to open the door and they'd see you there behind the till and see your
yeah,
products.
yeah, all of that. So, and you know, I decided to go on my own basis. It's not that something messed up. At the end of the day, the high street is a dying. It is also a dying. They say it's like a dying aspect. You know,
Yes.
everything is .com. You know, everything is on the internet. So we have to be mindful to be of age, to be of future. So for me, it actually worked out well. Most of my clients are actual loyal customers who still follow me now. You know, there'll be times where I'm speaking to yourselves and you'll hear me be like, oh, I just went to a customer, I just met up with a customer, because we've got that kind of relationship. You know, I there's options of having pop-up shops where I'm going to be doing quite a lot of that, or you could do events where you're just committing to something for a month, 2 months, and then you're done. You're up and you're gone. You're making that earning. You're not getting eaten out by rent, but you're having a presence. And not every shop, not every business as well, we need to remember, requires a presence on the high street. Remember, it's an overhead. If we're thinking as a business, with the overhead. If you don't need to, and you're like a web designer and stuff like that, you don't need bricks and mortar. Do you know what I mean? You can just you can use your website as your domain. Me as a cosmetics, it's something where women have to come in, they have to feel, they have to touch, they have to test it. So once I got those loyal customers who came in, filled and touched it, once they knew that I was a makeup artist and I could give my expertise as well, they trusted me. So no matter where I go, they follow me. They know that they can call me on my number. They know they can reach me on Insta. They know they can get my products online. And if they're close enough, I'll go and meet them if I'm going to a client, so they don't have to pay for delivery. I've got options where you can pick up at store now. So where if you order from me, you don't have to pay for delivery. I've got agreements with other store where I could just leave my stock there and they could go and pick it up. So I'm giving that kind of easy high street service. It's about that USP again. It's about doing a different spin on things, but it's about keeping the money that you have to pay out low.
Yeah, because in that perspective, you a lot of people don't realize the expense of even having a shop or a business on the high road, and
Absolutely.
and
Especially
it's like,
look for.
yeah, and it's like, how can I explain it? It's like that, like even little aspects of, like, even just on the business rates that you have to pay to the council. A lot of people think that you just have a shop and you pay the rent and that's it. But then you've got electricity, you've got all these type of stuff, your telephone bills and all that kind of stuff. These mount up before you realizing you're spending more than you're making. You know, and these things they can catch up with you within 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So in its perspective, if you're doing a high street thing, me personally, if I was going to open up a shop on a high road, I want to make sure that I have a whole year of its expenses in one, and I'm able to pay for everything for that whole year, so that anything I do is on my back to able to promote in that shop as much as possible.
Gotcha. So listen, fam. If you haven't already, please like the video. Forgot to do our little housekeeping. Like and subscribe. Make sure you hit the notification bell. so that you know when Constructive Convos goes live. You just never know when we are in the mood to have a constructive conversation. How about that? And also, please subscribe to some of our other channels. Some of our panel members from Constructive Convos, they have things and projects and so forth that they are working on. Starting with on tomorrow, make sure you all subscribe to our sister Kushti Cosmetics. And you guys can just open up another tab right now. And while you're listening, and subscribe to Kushti Cosmetics. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and notification so that you can be there and be square for our sister's first live on her channel. We want to be there and show her some love. We want to learn some things about these awesome products that she has and her journey as an entrepreneur. Did I leave anything out, sis?
Nope, just it's tomorrow, Tuesday. Please click and subscribe. 7:30.
What's the YouTube page?
It's Kushti Cosmetics, KUSHTY Cosmetics, and we'll be doing a live review. We'll be actually having a conversation with the owner, and we'll have some topics in regards to Black businesses as well.
And what was I gonna say about? It just left me that quickly about your channel. But anyway,
Scattered Minds doing another show midweek or something.
Yeah, we got Scattered Minds. His channel is the pop culture, political, and Pan-African. Yeah. I remembered. I got it right.
100.
Go ahead.
No, we're just gonna carry on with social policing. To be fair, on the Wednesday, but I think we'll just carry on with social policing on the Wednesday.
Okay, so make sure you all subscribe to Scattered Minds channel so that you can be a part of that interesting conversation. And we got Black Eyes TV 7, right? Black Eyes TV 7 is the name of the channel.
Yep, and I will just say, because I just put it in the chat, I've got an exclusive event on Friday. If you want to come on one of my businesses, which is a tour guide business, which is touring people around in the UK and abroad, but we have a special guest who's coming in from America called Ashul Akwesi, and he does
teacher.
Yeah, he does a lot of historical stuff from the Egypt and our history in Ethiopia and whatsoever. We're doing a tour at the British Museum.
What time?
The way to the obelisk, starting from, I can't say. All you have to do is able to email me, because it's an exclusive tour guide at this precise moment, because we don't want too many people turning up at the time.
I hear you.
So in that perspective, I will give you my email address, which is hkthola@gmail.com. I repeat, hkthola@gmail.com, or just inbox the live and leave a message, and I'll get back to you. But in that perspective,
HKGH T as in Tom.
Yep. History, knowledge, tours, and holidays.
Okay.
OLA. All right.
I'm putting it in
gmail.com. And that's this Friday, because on the Saturday and Sunday we have what we call the African Liberation Day in Birmingham, which is a big, massive conference of all different activities and whatsoever. And then on the Saturday, as I was going to explain, is what we call the Manhood Academy Exchange. We are exchanging with our youth to another area of youth with the West Side. which is controlled by a guy called Andrew Mohammed. So we're doing a student exchange in that perspective, and you were able to find out more information on that if you have the children about that. And then, as I said, just watch out for this space, because August is the Black History Weekender. We do this every year. 2 days of fun. We are going to able to have an African market and entertainment, and we're going to become a tourist once again, where we cover the strips of London, and we have people like Black History Studies, Black History Walks. We have Robin Walker. We have quite a few others who are going to tour you all around London for 2 days. It's an amazing event. You shouldn't miss it. Watch out for the advertisement, and you will see what is coming.
Wow. See, Constructive Convos doing big things. Big things are going. In addition to that, you know, I'm sure everyone is subscribed, but I'm gonna say it now. Make sure you subscribe to our brother Shakara Speaks, to his channel. He has Shakara Speaks, got Kush TV, and what's the other one? Mega Meducation. He has a new channel, so just go to Shakara Speaks channel, and then you'll be able to see the video talking about his new channel. But please support our brother Shakara Speaks. And I believe that's everybody, right? That has some sort of content. I just didn't want to leave anyone out. Are we good?
Yeah, but let me just quickly add this one. Oh, and before I forget, on the day of the Ashur Kwesi tour, in the evening, there is a lecture with Ashur Kwesi at the Matt Hat Centre in Tottenham. So if you can't make it for the tour, then you can able to come to the event at the Matt Hat Centre in the evening.
Okay. Thank you, brother. Before, because the time is approaching, we're coming up close to our 2-hour mark. So I just wanted to dive into this section of our discussion. Want to find out, getting into business, what are the first steps? Sister Kushti, take it away. Woo.
Yes, sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
So what, do you want me to just give a quick break? I just don't know how much is left on the time.
It don't matter if we go over time, you know what I'm saying? We having fun and we learn about business. So this is nation building at its finest right here. So we
Okay.
good?
So yeah, I think we covered a lot of like the beginning stages. So like we get an idea, we make sure that we make sure it's a liable business. So we do our research. It's like primary research, or otherwise known as like field research. So for example, one of the main things that I did, because I knew that I'd come up to criticism in regards to my business, is have to prove what I already knew. So although you know something, you still have to prove it. So I had to go to different areas which had high ethnic populations and go into all of their stores. And then I had to list down each items on there that was on there and how much of them were for darker skin tones. And I did that for every store. So for example, we know that we have a Boots on every store, Superdrugs in every store. So I went into Boots and Superdrugs in every ethnic area to show that there is still a lack of representations for women of darker skin tones in these areas in regards to cosmetics. So although I knew that I had to prove that to the powers that be, because the person that you might need to prove the business plan to, or talk to, or gain a partnership with, or get funding with, might not be the same person as you, might not look like you, might not understand the trials and tribulations of, or what the need that you're trying to solve. So yeah, definitely do your field research. I mean, again, that's the thing in regards if you're passionate, not passionate, if it's something you're good at, not good at. Regardless, you're going to have to be good at the thing. So make sure that you look into the research of it and make sure that it's liable first, because you don't want to go through all of that money or just end up like the Lions Den kind of thing. And it's just like you've done so much, but you realize it's not a profitable business. So I definitely would do the field research first, and then, like I think Witness commented on, I'd definitely start going on a business plan. Like a business plan to me is just a nice track of where I'm going. It's like a nice tick list to make sure that you know what you're doing. The business plan that I use as well is a really good one because it just gives you every question that you could think of to think about your business. And if you're passionate in starting your business, or if you want to do your business, it's something that's quite, although it's quite long-winded, it's quite interesting and fun for me to do, because obviously, like I said, this is my baby. So finding out different aspects that answer you questions that you might not really thought of. And these are questions that you'll definitely get asked like sooner or later. So having a business plan basically makes sure that you're covered. So any pitfalls, anything, any holes, that's got you covered. It makes sure that you've looked at every aspect of your business. So then once you're ready with a business plan. You've got a question, you could just go to refer to page whatever or page whatever. So like the first steps of business, I think like we kind of did cover that in regards to just like, yeah, finding out what you want to do, make sure it's a liable business. I'll definitely start a business plan. I'll definitely start looking into mentorship. Like I'm very blessed with the mentors I've been able to receive over the last couple of years. And their information to me has been like invaluable. So I'll definitely be careful in regards to like where you go and see a mentor or where you get your mentor as well. It's always good to get a mentor in the field that you want to do, someone who's experienced in the area that you're doing it in, so they can definitely give you advice. But more so, if they think that what you're doing is good, they can point you into the right direction and speed up that process for you as well. A business plan in a mentor in business as well can help you and advise you, because sometimes doing a business is quite lonely if you don't have other people around you. Within the Black community, it's not like, for example, of the Asian community in London, we know that like maybe they've got a lot of people who have opened shops or done other things, so they've got a lot of experience in regards to that. So you really are sometimes learning as you go. And that's why on my channel, I'm going to really be breaking about all the different mentorships that are out there, what to look for, and the little pitfalls that I wish that I had got told. And I'll be introducing people who helped me do it. So mentors or coaches and things like that. So I'd go really in depth in regards to starting up and throughout the business journey as well. So a mentor is invaluable. So I definitely say, if you're starting a business, make sure that it's a liable thing. It's an actual business. Sort out a business plan so you know the ins and outs of it. So anyone questions you, like what Witness says, it gets hard sometimes. People might question you. My business is not even a business concept that's out there. So it's one thing having something that other people's got. It's another thing having something where people can't even they can't even conceive it. So definitely have a business plan. So I literally call it like a dummy sheet. So make sure you just, even if it makes sense, just write it in so no one can have any questions. And yeah, I mean, I could go on and on and on, because starting a business is just like literally in steps, but I don't know. I don't want to just over talk or whatever. So yeah, I'll pass it on to Terry.
Okay. In its perspective, I always say, believe in your dreams, be in control of your own destiny. In looking at that, is able to understand. I have a motto of how I started myself in the perspective of a vision board. It's a to-do list. I start from my creativity, then I find ways of writing things down, putting pictures up, and it becomes my kind of to-do list in creating my business. So I will say social media check, website check, funding check, target audience check, expansion check. So it just keep on looking at things that will help me get to where I need to be in where my services needs to go. And I always say, don't put yourself into one box, because the world is your oyster and you have the internet to expand. So by you expanding, looking at people in other countries, in other places, not just in your community, will make you expand much more quicker. So, and basically, It's just putting it into one nutshell. It's just able to have all your things that you need to do to moving forward. And the one extra thing I would say to it in its perspective is teamwork. You need a team. Don't be solo in your business, because you can only go to a certain level by doing something on your own. The more you expand, the more your business will expand with it.
These are some good initial steps. Some good indicators or markers where a person could think or could begin in their strategy and planning things out. I wanted to read a comment. Myself and Everything is Everything, we're kind of discussing, and he says, melanated, that's why I'm a little scared to do a business. I almost did, then reality hit me. And then he says, the fear of failure is strong. Always something to learn, no room for mistakes.
But you know what, Melanaid? In that
Mhm.
in that question, right, is we should not have fear of mistakes, because mistakes is where we learn.
Mm.
Because how
Okay.
would you know something if you don't make that mistake?
Well, and all, just trying to provide a little bit. He's not here to speak for his point, but perhaps he has people in his life that are depending on him, where he may
Mm-hmm.
not have the he may not have the space and the opportunity there to just say, "Oh, I'm failing at this." Like, "Oh well, I'm just gonna fail." Like, sometimes you're not able to, you don't have that luxury, I guess, to fail.
And that's what my last motto was: create a team.
Okay.
I'd probably say something to whether everything is everything is that also an element of doing a business plan. That's why I'd suggest you maybe just get a good link for a business plan. Like I'm happy to forward on the one that I used because it was amazing. But you do a trial test. So, for example, you don't have to do the business in your idea in a grand scheme. You can do it in a very minute way. So you can just maybe, if you're making something or you want to go and do a trade, you can just maybe just do something on the weekend or do something after work or just do something once a month and see how you go with it. That's really the best way to do something, especially because it's kind of natural to have a fear of failure. But I totally love Terry's mindset on things as well. Like I love hearing him say things like that 'cause he turns it onto a positive. But what I'd say is maybe like what you could actually do to reassure yourself, because it's about how you feel, is maybe just do it on a smaller scale. Do you know what I mean? So maybe just try it, and where there's not so much capital, there's not so much time, there's not so much risk invested into it, and then that will actually help you because that is classed as evidence to show that actually, you know what, this is a liable business. I've done this, that, and I've got this return. So far, so good. They might even come back to me. That is some you selling the service and getting money for it. You've got a business. So yeah, I'd say just go on a smaller scale.
Mm-hmm. And a smaller scale
Hmm.
can lead to even just
Well,
on a simple thing of selling pens. You have 1,000,000 pens, and your profit is £1 million or $1 million. Doesn't matter how long you take to sell them pens, but at the end of it, you're gonna have £1 million or $1 million in your pocket.
See what I mean? I just
sister,
love the way you put spins on things. Like
so Sister Christy, your feedback was very similar to what I put in the chat. I said I understand about the fear. I would say work part-time for yourself. That would address the fear. You might be exhausted though, but it's a good ruler to measure your success. So you kind of using like your big toe to check the temperature of the water, and you're slowly working yourself into it. So you're still doing a lot of the tasks associated with expanding on and having your own business while you're having your full-time job in it.
absolutely, we've spoken about things like
Hmm.
that. You know, that's what I'm about. It's not about always maybe, you know, understanding that like real life is real, man. So you sometimes you really do and this is what I mean. If you've not come out of that mindset, the thought of just, you know, putting everything on the line is a real reality. Business is real. So it do so good for his confidence in his idea. It'd be good to show as evidence that this is a liable business, and he hasn't lost out. In fact, if, like Terry says, he's either made an income or it could go even better. The worst case scenario, which I don't think would happen to you, brother, I'm always putting a positive, is that okay, it didn't work, but you haven't lost out on anything. So
Well,
definitely, I'm all about that.
he just
Uh-huh.
directed brother Terry. Everything is everything. Said Terry is fearless. Is it because you have experienced failure at Terry? Did it reinforce you?
I'm not going to be so. I'll give you an example. In African tradition, you have to understand spirituality, and spirituality gives you that strength in understanding its perspective. I'll use the history of the Haitian War of Bookman. Bookman
I
said
love books.
to able to fight the opponents is to have Ogun in you.
Yo, who you talking about? My Muslim brother Bookman.
Yep.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah.
Understand.
Alhamdulillah.
Well,
Understanding, we're not going to go down that route. Understanding, he understood. He understood African philosophy in that if you have Ogun is what we call today Iron Man. Is to have him.
That don't sound like Islam. What do you mean? What's going on here?
It's not Islam. I'm just using him. He comes from an Islamic background, but his
you
spirituality
see what you can
is
carry.
African.
You just carry on, Terry.
Anyway, I'm not going to explain it too much, but
Okay.
understanding that the reason being is once you have Ogun in you, yeah, you become that creativity will become your protection. So then, as I said, my body is coming from a spiritual being living a human experience. So whatever happens to my body is irrelevant. So in that aspect, if you look at Iron Man, look how many times in the films does he keep on, no matter how much he gets battered, he still comes back for more.
That's true.
He's the only one that faces Stannis and still comes at Stannis 10 times over, and he still get beaten up and he'll still come back.
So in
That's
relation
how you
to the
should be
fear
in your
aspect,
workplace.
okay.
Huh?
So in relation to like the fear aspect, are you saying that what we should just like be fearless, like as in Bookman, or
Like
Yeah,
be
in
like Iron
Bookman,
Man.
as I said, it's that spirituality of understanding the philosophy of it. Is that if I focus within my inner strength, there's nothing that can break me down on the outside.
yeah,
So I'm gonna go into something with no fear because there's nothing they can do to me. Who's stopping me
yeah,
from selling? I'm still
yeah.
gonna sell what I'm gonna sell.
And you
Mm-hmm.
definitely have that mentality.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go up to somebody because what have I got to lose? I'm gonna talk to a woman. If she says no, she says no. If I'm gonna sell something to somebody, if they don't like it, they don't like it. I go to the next one. How many fishes are in the sea?
Exactly.
Oh, Suki. That's right. Just I think this
Nothing worse than shoulda, woulda, couldas. You might as well try it, man, and regretting that you never even gave it a
Yeah,
chance.
that's why I said sometimes we make mistakes and we learn from it.
Exactly.
Okay, I made a mistake now. How can I improve on that mistake? What did I do wrong? Let me analyze it. Let me see what I can do that can improve in where I went wrong.
100%. Sometimes it's not even a mistake. This is what science actually is, and this is what we have to get back to. Is that science for a lot of time is coming up with an idea, saying, "Okay, I think this is a good idea. Let's put it to the test," and coming up with an answer. And if the answer is right or wrong, you didn't see that as failure. You saw that as learning. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly,
The next
and
step.
that's what I said.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So I think as a community, we need to rearrange our relationship with the idea of failure. and actually celebrate failure more. Because failure means you actually tried. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and we know not to go to do that again. Do you know what I mean? Now you know what avenue not to take. Let's try the other 2 or 3.
And if you don't want to make mistakes, observe others.
Exactly. They always say a smart person learns of their own mistake, a wise person learns from others. That's why it's better to listen more than to speak.
Definitely.
Yes. You don't want your ears to be too hard. I'm in a silly mood right now, guys. But I'm trying. I'm being focused and you know, looking at the topics that we have discussed, and I wanted to find out from Sister Kushti, Brother Terry, when you decided, right? So when you were coming up with your business plan, when you were deciding the direction and the avenue that you're going to with your business, did you factor in having multiple streams of income with that business venture?
100%. You can never rely on one egg. You got to able to understand that you got to be multi-talented in its format to creating something. It's like if I just rely on just one wage packet, then there's a possibility it's going to take longer. So if I want something, the more multiple things I do, the quicker that thing comes. So in that perspective, it teaches me business because I'm starting to indulge in different types of business and seeing, and sometimes it's to learn as well. Even in advertising, if I've got a business, if I learn a bit of advertising, at least when I'm giving the job to someone to do the advertising for me, I understand advertising where I can able to relate to him what I want him to do.
Right.
So I learn a lot of things in multitasking in that perspective. So multiple income, I will find many ways of getting multiple income because I don't rely on one source.
Hey, Sister Kushti, was that the same for you?
Yes, that's the same. Definitely got to rely on different streams of income. If you can relate into your business, all the better, because it's just kind of easy to unify. But there's also ways that it's always good to have different ventures, like different ideas. We're always evolving, so there's always different avenues to go to and different opportunities and stuff like that. So, for example, I'm going to Afro Hair and Beauty this weekend. This bank holiday, I'll be there for the 2 days. It's like the largest one in Europe for women. So that's a whole different aspect now added onto my business as well. I'll be able to meet customers. Gain new opportunities, find new channels of income. So yeah, definitely.
And you see,
Nice.
you learn from that, and then that's where you can give yourself an exposure to going internationally to other events similar to it. Because
Absolutely.
you've experienced what you've learned here.
Yeah, absolutely. You like you said, you start realizing, the ins and outs of it. You start going to them a few times. You start seeing the same people. They start recognizing you, and there's like a level of respect there, and you start learning about different opportunities overseas as well. Because as I said, this only happens once annually. That's not to say that it's not. There's one in France as well. There's obviously the Essence Festival in America, which is just like the epitome of it at the moment. Do you know what I mean?
In the Superdome.
Yeah, exactly. So, absolutely. You never know. So that's why I say you always got to go out there and branch out, because you might just have an idea of channels, but the ancestors most high might have a different idea and give you a whole different channel that you didn't even know was possible. Just by someone saying, "Oh, I've got an idea. Do you want to meet up? I like what you do. I've seen what you do. Do you want to meet up?" Like, for example, as well, I'm with the Jamaican High Commission. That's something that I'm totally proud of, And to people where titles and things matter, they understand that gives me a presence as well. It gives me a standing when I speak to people. I understand different things in regards to importing and exporting now. So I'm starting to do things behind that now. So I'm starting to do things that might be similar to a business, but my business, but it's different. So
Yeah, and you can see that because the High Commission is got nothing to do with your business, but you are able to do a joint venture or find ways of utilizing another industry to giving your business the exposure.
What does the Jamaican High Commission do? I'm curious. No, I don't mean that as an attack. I'm just curious.
You know what the Jamaican High Commission is?
No, I mean I know what the Jamaican High Commission is. I'm just curious how what's the word I'm looking, commercially how it works. Is it a case of?
Oh, that's a good question, actually. In regards to what I'm doing with them, it's basically, I mean, so I'd expect you to know what a high commission is, but most people just think you go when you're in trouble or something like that. But they literally should be there for what they're doing at the moment. So I'm helping them as well. So if I get any products that are within the Christie website that say they're Jamaican owned, it's certified that it's Jamaican owned because it's gone through the Jamaican High Commission. Now, in regards to Jamaican products, there's been loads of things recently where you've got like fake seasoning, fake oils, concentrated oils. These are very dangerous things that I'll be talking about that I'm really passionate about because they're dangerous for us and we should look out for. And they just put on there that they're Jamaican owned, or they'll have a little Caribbean image at the background, and they're very good at marketing as well. This is what I mean, you know. So they'll give the illusion that it's Jamaican owned and it's not. And if people are conscious buyers, or people just want a bit of taste at home, or you just genuinely care about what you're putting on your body, to know that something is certified from Jamaica, to know that the money is going back into black businesses, black farmers, back at home as well, you know, to know that these ingredients are the purest of their ingredients, to know that they've been done by black people with passion, with everything they've put into it, love, care, whatever you want to call it, and it's come back to us. Like with the essential oils, you don't even have to open them. I always tell people you can smell yard just by looking at it. It's just like it smells. You don't even have to open it. You can't go to any essential oils and go to there and do that, you know. So it's things like that that people genuinely want to know, and it's true. Like, what is the Jamaican High Commission doing? What are they doing for back home on businesses? So this is a part to show that actually, look, they are helping business introducing into the British market. You know, there are black business helping, and I saw a need there where I said, look, you've got black businesses there, but no one knows about it. I know they're certified. Let's link it together.
Yeah, because
so
you would actually, if you actually understand any form of high commission, their main core and the head of their establishment is a diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
What is a diplomat? A diplomat is where they introduce what they do to another place. What their concepts are, what they do, where they produce, what they eat, everything. So in that format, is able to helping you in getting their resources and how can you use that resource to do what you do. So even when it comes to forms of products, a high commission is a good place to go, especially if you're looking for a specific product. So I can say, like, for instance, if I said I was looking for one of the best shea butters, then of course they might say, okay, it's in Ghana. So how can I have a link to people in Ghana? I would go to the High Commission to find out.
Yeah. And this is really good information for those who are saying, you know, how do I find out about going back home? How do I start businesses back home? You know, you can go there and find out. You know, you can get there and find out the current situation. You know, they're registered with there's registered businesses with them. Like the things that you find out, they know what the current trend is back home as well. They'll tell you what, you know, they're there to help. Do you know what I mean? So go in there and ask a bunch of questions. You know, you can do that.
Right. And these are good. This is all good information, you know, because it kind of ties back into like the first steps and part of that research and part of that, you know, really getting an understanding of whatever your supposed product is, seeing if the demand for it, who's the demand, and all of those things that, you know, you guys laid out as far as everything that happens in the introductory uh phase. You know, we wrote down all of these topics, and surprisingly, we pretty much hit everything. I just wanted to see if we could touch on um what we felt the difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. If we could kind of talk about what, you know, the what I want to say, like the structural differences between being self-employed versus a business owner. Anybody want to jump at it?
Is there a difference? I didn't know there was a difference between being self-employed and being a business owner. I thought if you were self-employed, you were a business owner.
Yeah, you are the business
Yeah,
when you're self-employed.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. If you're saying in forms of being an employee, then it's different.
Okay.
But being self-employed, you're giving your self-employed is giving your services in forms of contracts and things like that, which is a business because you have to pay your own taxes when you're self-employed.
Yeah, I think maybe the better phrase for that would be a sole trader in a limited company. So there's definitely a difference to that, hence there's different titles to it. And I think the main thing is as a sole trader, you're an independent business, like sorry, I am shattered. Brother Terry said. So for example, a plumber, if he doesn't work, he don't get paid. There's differences in taxes, things like that. What you want to elevate to is that's normally like the first step. So like the next step would probably be like a limited company. Therefore, the company doesn't survive on you solely, like the plumber. You have a load of people doing that kind of business for you. So there are times where you can. Some people do register as a limited company because of the perks, but traditionally it is a sole person, sole trader, sole as in individual, sole as in one doing the
Yeah.
work as a plumber. And then you have a limited company, i.e., you have a company of people, all under one roof. Since times have gone on now, you can just change into between. So when you sign up, it doesn't matter what you sign up to. You can change in between. And if you're, and people normally do that, is savvy in regards to taxes. It's the main reason I find that people go in between.
Yeah, because the limit, what you'll find out is that the limited company itself is that if let's say for instance the company gets liquidated, it doesn't affect you personally. It just affects the company, which the company closes down. So it doesn't affect your personal belongings or interest, where a sole trader is directly to the person.
Exactly. All responsibilities down to you instead of
Yeah.
the actual registered PLC business. Because
And so what, did both of you have to register it at Company's House or something, or you didn't have to bother?
Yeah, most for the UK's Company's House. It's because you have to register most of your businesses. But as I always say, there's a perks of you don't have to register your business for the first year. So it gives you the opportunity to do what you need to do, because a lot of people don't realize this. They want to start a business and say, oh no, I'm going to register it. But the first year, you don't have to register it because at the end of the day, you're in development period.
I see.
And also, yeah, you can use like formation company as well. So obviously it's good to know like what sort of documents and what things are. You'd have to inform yourself to a degree anyway, but you can use a formation company to actually fill out the paperwork and file it with Company's House. And they a lot of the time the formation companies offer other benefits like registered office. Because if you don't have a registered office, basically every business has to be registered to a postal address that can actually receive correspondence from banks and the rest of it, HM, revenue, whatever. And when you're registering, they'll ask you for your address. If you put down your own personal address, like your resident where you live, that will be on the public record for anyone to see. So where business owners might not want that because they want obviously the privacy, they can pay a company to act as their registered address, and your business mail will go to that company's address, and then it will get forwarded to you, obviously at a price.
Especially if you want to open up multiple businesses, which you can able to create in a rainbow company. So you can open up a limited company on one of the companies, and then put in line the other companies underneath it, which will be like departments of the major company.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, it's on a lighter note, Kushti, your business, what does the name mean? If you're so
Kush is a place when I was first finding self, shall we say. One of the places that really stuck out to me was an ancient empire in Kush. And what I really liked about them is that in their time, they were doing really well. Not only just the people at the head, but their actual the civilians as well. And the main reason for that is that they were sharing information. So, like even now, we find that a lot of the information is held back from us and things like that. But they genuinely wanted everyone to prosper and do good, and they understood that if you understood why this is good for you, then you would just do it instead of getting like dogma and told to do it. And that really excelled them. So I kind of like that vibe. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give back to the community. I'm trying to give back information in regards to the business, in regards to ingredients and stuff like that. So it kind of linked together. I grew up in East London, so like Kushti means everything's all good. So I kind of put the two together. And then I've got my lovely black woman on there with the Sphinx. And yeah, she's just everything brilliant. And I love it because certain people who know come up to me like, I see you, I love that name. And other people just like it because, do you know what I mean? They like the name. So it attracts both. So it's good.
Thanks.
No problem.
What's your business's name, Terry?
I have multiple.
I know, that's why I said business is plural.
It falls under the main aspect of the, as I said to you, in the form of an umbrella. I have my main business is Supreme Advertising and Distributions, which deals with advertising campaigns and able to do in forms of distribution. Now, in the movement of it that comes out of it is the New Beginning, which is to deal with the community. So all different aspects of the community it deals with, and then on the other side of it, we got the holistic services and products, which is called Ozin, meaning the man from the woods, the medicine man. Then we have what we call Stair Clothing, which is able to help people do fashion and all different types of products. We've got the Black Eyes TV, which is to deal with media. So in all how it is that I look at 5 different aspects. We deal with history and knowledge, which comes under my tours and everything else, which is as explained before, HKTH, history, knowledge and tours and holidays, which is the tour about health. We're able to talk about the Ozin, which is the health and understanding, negotiating and talking with people with health and products. Then we have the New Beginning, which is to do with all the people in the community, organizations and whatsoever. Then we have the economics, which I put the stance of my advertising distribution company, and the Black Eyes TV, which deals with media.
Okay.
3 is a businessman.
Yeah.
Trying to be like him when I grow up. You know what I mean? I'm trying to be like him, have them multiple streams of income, you know. Um I just wanted to take the time to show some people in the chat some love. We got, our brother, Everything is Everything. He's definitely been keeping the conversation going. You can tell he's engaged. You can tell that business is something that's on his mind, and he's thinking and strategizing. So, we want to say and stay encouraged, brother, you and your family. Um, Anonymous has been really active too. Brother, are you correct? In the house, we see you also engaging in conversation, and do want to make some shout outs. Our brother Raz has been holding it down as well. Was good, brother Raz. And we had some visitors earlier on. Buddha, I know I saw Buddha up in there at some point. Yeah. So I just didn't want to leave anyone out. Oh, our sister Vonda
Rhonda
Harris.
Harris.
Yeah, she always comes through and show the family some love. Our USA love over here, USA UK connection we got going on. Yeah, so I'm kind of digging this conversation. I hope that you all enjoy the conversation as well. Is there anything that I left out, family?
No, that's it. Make sure you look into Kushti's thing.
And make sure you
Well,
guys are locked in. Kushti's tomorrow. Scattered is on Wednesday.
Wednesday, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, Kushti is tomorrow. And what we really want to do is we want to, there's so much junk and stuff like on television. So we're really trying to, be about this unity. We're really about, trying to have a positive image of Black media, and this is just one of many shows that just shows that we don't only just want to talk about it, we want to be about it, right? And we don't only want to be about it for ourselves, but we want to branch off and kind of send that energy so we can have a whole lot of stuff just popping off in our community in different areas. Whatever state you in, brother, Everything is Everything, Anonymous, Sister Vonda, just everyone being encouraged and being their best self. So, yeah, we appreciate you guys for coming through, building with us. And we gonna just
share, like, and subscribe.
Share, like, that's his American accent. Y'all heard him? And share, like, and subscribe.
To Convos.
Constructive
Convos.
Bringing the conversation back to Black. Boom.
Like that page.
Peace, family. Peace. Thank you guys for joining us.
Peace.
Bless up, everyone. Bless up.